Well, hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm still fiddling with my setup, so I only have like flashing meters to tell me that there is audio. But assuming that you can, hello. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to actually edit. I'm going to actually edit, and I have created footage for me to edit into a preposterous short film about ironing clothes. And because I like to tackle the big issues facing society. So let me do this in Final Cut. But the idea is, it's not particularly involved. It'll probably be less than a minute long. But if I cut it in Final Cut and then I try and cut it in other edit packages, it'll maybe let me compare the minutiae of how these non-linear editing uh, applications handle the various situations. So let's in Final Cut make ourselves a new library, and I'll call it Oh, the Irony. That's the name of the. That's the best thing about it. It's a film about ironing clothes, and it's called Oh, the Irony. I had the idea while I was ironing clothes, and I thought, can I make a film out of ironing clothes somehow? And I thought, no, that's not interesting at all. And then I thought, but if you call the film Oh, the Irony, that'll justify it. That'll justify making it. I'm sure you agree. Now, the point being, just to give me something to edit. So it doesn't need to be a good film. In fact, it's better if it's not a good film, because if it was a good film, it would be a waste of a good film. So I'm better saving the good stuff for when it actually matters and getting this nonsense out of my system. So let's I'll call it Oh, the Irony. And I'll bung my library in here. Blank library. Now, I shot the footage that I'm referring to on my phone. So here's the first thing. I was going to take it step by step, and literally compare how you get kind of clips into NLEs, and with Final Cut, if you've used an Apple device to film it, it's rather good, because you just open Final Cut, and if it's in your kind of iCloud library, you just access your whole iCloud library straight in Final Cut, which is kind of a strangely useful thing to happen. But I also think when it comes to Resolve, Blackmagic Cloud does a similar sort of a thing. So I'll test that. Let's just take all these clips of me ironing. That one. That one. That one. That one. That one. That one. What else? That one. That one. And this one. And then if I just drag these over here into my event. Oh, didn't work. I've got to. This is an annoying thing. I've got to have the event selected. There we go. Let's try that again. So back in here. That one. All the way to this one. And I also want this one, and this one. Now, if I drag all these over here, come on, then I get a little plus sign. Do I want to switch the library to high dynamic range? No. It makes it harder to monitor. I don't think my little black magic card can cope with high dynamic range. So I'll keep it as SDR. And as you can see, all my clips look a bit dull. Oh, they're becoming less dull. I think maybe it's applying a correction. Yeah, that looks right to me. Oh, it looks a little bit blown out, doesn't it? But that'll be okay once I get it. This will all be okay once I get it into a standard definition, standard dynamic range kind of timeline. Speaking of which, let's make one. As ever, you should be able to see the buttons I'm pushing here. So if I push the letter A. If I push space, you get that little thing there. Yeah, see, that's all blown out. But when I put it in a sequence, it should be fine. So the whole point of this is to see how compare the various software packages. So we know what Final Cut's doing with HDR here. It's applying various corrections which I can kind of disable or make use of, and we'll see what other packages do. But in the meantime, let us make ourselves a new, let's show you what I'm doing here, new project, because Final Cut 10 calls sequences projects. And it calls what other you might think of as a project, it calls it a library. So you need to get used to the terms. But I'll try and be as clear as possible when I'm discussing this stuff. Oh, microphone. Right. Oh, can it take a comma? Oh, the irony. Exclamation mark. You know that you're watching a class piece of cinema when the title has an exclamation mark in it. And I'm going to use the properties of the clips. So if I don't specify any properties in my timeline here, then it takes the first clip I put in the timeline and just copies the properties from that. So let's turn on my scrubbing here, and I can scrub through ironing my clothes. There must be a wide. Did I not get a wide? It must be. It has to be that. All right. No, I'll take this shot first. It's got a nice big iron in it, which should hopefully sell the idea. So if I slap that in, all right. So it's in. These are non-standard Apple phone shot this. Interesting. Okay, well let's not make it 4K. Let's make it 1080p. It should be 60, I think. Oh, is it? Right, hang on. Cancel. What frame rate have I shot these things at? Let's look at the little info tab here in the inspector. What have we got? Frame rate is 25p. So let's stick with that. It's 4K. It's high dynamic range. Let's modify the settings. Let's make it 25p. I'll make it HD. That should let me resize the shots. I think that's all right. and the color space is standard Rec 709 standard dynamic range. Alright, so where's that shot again? This one. Let's bung that in. The video properties to set. Click cancel. No. Now has it? Yeah, it's changed my project. I don't want that to happen. Can I modify it? No. Right. See? Because I said initially that I wanted to just take the properties from the first clip, it wouldn't let me change my mind about that. So let's forget this. Let's delete this whole sequence and start again. And I'm going to call it Oh the Irony. This time I'm going to say use my settings. I want it to be 1080p. I want it to be 25 frames a second. That's all fine. So now hopefully when I add this clip it won't, yeah, it just does what I want. And we should see that a correction has been applied automatically. So this does no longer look blown out. If I look at the original iPhone clip, it's all blown out. But if I stick it in a timeline, it's automatically corrected itself. Now I think I can turn that off, but no, that's what I want. If only so I can monitor it. So here's me ironing. Let's get a shot of me taking creased clothing and turning it into smooth clothing. I'm going to hit the E key here, and that appends. It's an extremely useful function. It seems so easy. It's not particularly, it's just, you know, and it's not something that any other app could do, and I wish it would. I think Resolve does it actually, maybe Premiere, but Avid doesn't. It just means I want to stick the clip that I've got here at the very end of my timeline. When you're building a timeline, it's dead useful. In Avid, I'd have to go in and move my playhead to the end or set an in point at the end. You know, because quite often you've parked your playhead in the body of your sequence here. But in Final Cut, you can just go right, bung this at the end, and then you kind of build up lots of clips in your timeline, and you can sort them all out later, make them better. Right. Oh, that's a good one with the so if we get me picking up the iron in one shot, putting it down on this one, and then when I lift it up, it's got lots of nice steam. And I'll bung that at the end. Let's get rid of this other shot. So let's shorten that. So I come in on just picking it up, and I pick it up. And you see I've got a closer shot of that green cardigan. And if I want to drop it, right at the point where the playhead is sitting, I hit D for the overwrite command. In Avid, I think it's set to default B, but let's not worry about Avid just now. So pick the iron up, put it down there. Different shot of ironing it, and then let's do the picking up the iron with all the steam. So fairly simple just now. We're just establishing the fact that this chap performed by me is ironing clothes. So we see him there, fixed up the iron. Just takes a wee bit long to come down. Let's just nudge. There we go. Picks up the iron. And it's still too long, I think. Let's picks up the iron. All right, simple little. Nice steam. I think I'm missing a shot here. Oh, tell you what, let's have adjusting the Alright, I'll work out the minutiae of the ironing. Fix it up. Alright, so we do some ironing with the chap, and the idea is that he's driven to madness by the ironing, and he has a vision of a creepy man asking him if he wants to, like, how much he likes ironing. And he reveals to the fellow that he doesn't like ironing at all. The creepy man is played by my colleague. I can't really believe how creepy he looks. He's such a nice guy. And he looks terrifying. Right, so let's have a second item of clothing. Let's have him, the chap starts to look a little distressed, and he puts down another item of clothing. And let's use this kind of, I think these are trousers of some sort, cotton jogging pants. Oh, and there's some nice steam. And the steam is kind of a visual metaphor for his psyche. And let's go back to a close-up of him. So he gets quite manic, but let's keep our powder dry. There's some more ironing with a wee bit of steam. And let's get this nice shot of lots of steam. Let's go back here. Okay, so he's starting to look a little distressed. Poor chap. All right, so where are we? Let's say there's a title card. Tell you what, let's extend this first shot backwards, and let's do some text, and we'll do the text of the movie, the text of the title rather. Oh, the irony. Should it be capital T? Oh, the irony. And let's put it up here. Let's make it bigger. Let's put it right at the start. So the irony. Oh, the irony. And let's just have that fade off, shall we? And the way I like to do fades, I could stick a dissolve effect on it as a transition, but I like to just bring up in Final Cut some of these little keyframe parameters, and I'll just take the opacity and drag this kind of handle, and it fades off. Oh, see, that's look at it. It starts now, but he looks at his watch. So maybe he's under some time pressure to iron these clothes. When in fact, what I'm doing is, I can use, when you're shooting on your iPhone, you can use your watch as a wee monitor. You can see what. So if you're shooting yourself and you want to make sure you're in the frame, as what you can use your watch as a little broadcast monitor, which is what I'm doing. But I think we'll keep that in because it looks like the guy's kind of, maybe he's got to be somewhere. Maybe he's got to get these clothes ironed by a certain time. So that adds to his mounting pressure and frustration. And then he picks up the thing. He's ironing. He's getting a bit distressed. And he's ironing away. Steam. And I'll bring in some music here and bubble, 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 bubble. And here's just a shot of some creased clothing. And these are the creases that are playing on his mind. Let's go a wee bit later. I'm watching television, so we can hear that. I'll tidy up the audio later. So creased clothing. Oh, let's stick a shot right in the middle of that. So I'll just park the playhead there. Let's go back to him getting a wee bit more. A wee bit more. Not too much. Not too much. So if I hit the W key, it does an insert edit. In Avid, that would be V, I think. But anyway, hit W in Final Cut, and he's getting worked up about these these creases. This poor fellow. He's gonna lose his mind. He's gonna lose his mind. Right, let's bring the iron in. Right. Let's have one more little look at the creases. Okay, so he picks up the iron. And it's on this bit. He's going to lose his mind, and he's going to have a vision of a strange man saying, you know, do creases actually bother you? Oh, I should point out that background render must be on. So if I should look at here, oh, it's too late. Because the clips are a different format from the final, from the overall kind of timeline. What happens is when I drop them in, you'll see a little. You'll see. Oh no. I'll have to drop in a new clip because that one's already done. Let's drop in. A shot like that. See, there's a little line up here. That means a render, but it's gone because background renders on. Yeah, so after a third of a second, it background renders, and all it does is it renders the file to conform to my specifications. So now what we're actually looking at is a temporary piece of media that is the settings of the timeline. So in this case, it's HD, it's standard dynamic range, as opposed to the original clip, which is 4K and high dynamic range. Okay, let's do this. So already it's getting quite long, this film. I thought it'd be less than a minute. And in fact, we're approaching the minute mark already, and we haven't even. So, Sinister Man. Now, one thing I should have recorded his audio separately, but I was asking a favor, and I didn't like it basically. So we'll have some fun with his audio. Okay, so, and I've got various shots of him doing that, and one where it kind of creeps in. Right, so I'm gonna go to town with this, with effects, and it's all kind of and he's gonna get increasingly manic. and then we'll have the title card again. Oh, the irony! And that's it. That's the whole movie, folks. Uh, so let's get the bare bones down. So this is going to be an over the top psychological breakdown sequence, which should hopefully let me sort of test all the kind of strange and wacky effects that are built in, and see what parameters I can affect here. But this is basically it on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do crease clothes bother you? And we'll end up with him kind of having a breakdown here. And let's just have it's so bad. Let's just copy the. Oh, and then he has to answer. Actually, he had to say, 0. I don't. I'm doing this ironing, and I don't care about creased clothes. And we'll make that. Center that there. And let's come out of the shot before. Okay, so the guy's got to go 0. I'll have to film that. I'll film that today. Alright, so we've got ourselves a basic film. Maybe that's one little, I think that's about an hour with me faffing about, but getting the footage in to do that. And then maybe I'll spend another hour screwing with the visuals, getting some music in, and some sort of effects and heartbeats and all kinds of wacky things, over the top things, dreadful things, and then we'll see what we're left with, and it'll be what it is. But like I say, hopefully the value of all this does not lie in the film itself. It lies in the process between the various NLEs. Having done this, I'll maybe do it in Avid next. In fact, I will. I'll do it in Avid next. Same thing, bringing the footage in, cut it together, and make it as wacky as I can within the minute. It is about a minute long, in fact. So, in fact, let's have a look, shall we? It's just a minute. It's just the bare bones. But apart from one missing shot, which I'll film later on, hopefully, the kind of structure is there. And I suppose that's worth mentioning as well. What I kind of like to do is when I'm cutting, is I tend to like to get the whole structure down. Just get the shots. The story told. This is the story. This is the order things will happen. This is basically the shape of it. And I think I like to do that just so that, because that's just so I know it's been done, because I'm kind of worried that we don't have enough. I don't really like tweaking little moments in any one shot or any one cut, and if I haven't if I'm not sure that the whole kind of the whole thing is sound, structurally sound, and I'd rather worry about that. So I think it's worth mentioning, because I don't know if I don't know how common that is, because quite often I work with people and they're like they're quite surprised how rough I'm leaving something to begin with, and I'm like, well, there's no point making that beautiful, because it might come out. It might, if I decide that when you see the story as a whole, you think, oh no, that bit just doesn't fit at all, so just bring it all out. And if you spent any time making it look great, you just wasted your time, So broadly speaking. Anyhow, that's the basic structure. Shall we have a look? Shall we have a look? Let's go here. Oh yes. I've just realised we're not getting any sound here, are we? No, I don't think we are. Let's stop that. This is my setup again. I think maybe if I do that, let's try playing it. There we go, getting sound now. Let's go back to start. There we go.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much does creased clothing bother you?
Okay, so there you go. No awards forthcoming, but we'll prettify that. I'm happy with that as a solid beginning, middle, and end. And let's come back and let's spend about an hour tightening up that, and then we'll see what we've got. And then we'll do the same in Avid, and hopefully that'll reveal some interesting differences between the two systems. Anyhow, that's me. Thanks for spending some time here in the edit suite, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Cheery bye.